welcome to Studio 5. You can call today's show the In Case You Missed It episode. We are counting down the 5 big stories in uplifting entertainment. We're also taking a closer look at moving movies you may have missed. So let's begin with the countdown. Here's number 5. At number 5.
Money! Just keep making history, Simone Biles.
Simone Biles scores a first in women's gymnastics, a perfect landing after a triple-double in the U.S. Women's Gymnastics Championship. Less than 24 hours after she also made history with a double-double dismount.
2 flips, 2 twists, never been done in competition. And you see that smile?
It's the 6th championship win for Biles, who now moves on to the World Championships.
Simone's got enough gold medals at home. Someone give this girl a crown.
At number 4.
The Lion King, the true king of the box office. The Disney remake, now the highest grossing animated film of all time worldwide, passing Frozen's $1.28 billion for the top spot. It took Frozen 34 weeks to get there, starting in 2013. It took The Lion King just 24 days.
That begins our countdown. Now, first up in the movies you may have missed is a favorite cartoon turned live-action film. Here's the premise. Having spent most of her life exploring the jungle with her parents, Dora faces her most dangerous adventure ever, high school. Here's Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
We're gonna have a talk.
About the dangers of the big city.
See, you're gonna be invited to some parties. And some of these parties, they're called raves.
The people there are called ravers?
Yeah, and then they love glow sticks and candy necklaces and hacky sacks.
Dora's parents are on a new discovery, but they don't want her to come along because she's too naive and too young, and so they sent her to live with Diego.
Well, be careful. That's what we want to say.
Dora comes and obviously has no social constructs at all, and is just like unapologetically herself, and she's like, hi, I'm Dora.
It's not 6-year-old Dora, it's 16-year-old Dora. So
Right.
she's not only navigating the jungle, but the jungle of high school and being a teenager.
Dora, this isn't the jungle. It's high school. It's life or death.
Keep a low profile.
Just be yourself. Excuse me, I'm kind of stuck. Then all of a sudden her parents get kidnapped. And then she gets kidnapped, and they end up back in the jungle. Hi, I'm Dora.
We see a really interesting arc. I think Dora helps every other character in the whole movie just really find themselves and realize what's really important.
What is that? That does not sound like a good noise.
I don't think this is a jungle puzzle. This is Fukyo.
There's a lot of throwbacks to the original animated series, like talking to the camera and the audience, you know, can you say delicioso? But there's so much new adventure happening that it's still new to those who aren't familiar with the series.
Oh, no, it's cheese box. It's just cheese box.
I think we're safe.
You know, you search your whole life for a place to where you fit in and where you feel comfortable being yourself 100%. And this is definitely one of those movies where, you know, even on the press tour, everyone makes you feel so welcome and warm. This is Hollywood.
Yes,
this is glamour.
You understand the entire movie through the perspective and the lens of Hispanic culture, and that's never been seen before.
What is happening?
It's the curse! The curse is gonna perish us, we're gonna perish all over the place! Oh, there, follow me!
The real treasure is friendship and relationships and family and love.
All of the elements from the original show that you love, plus more.
Plus much more,
It's expanding on what you envisioned in your childhood. It's like taking that, putting it on steroids, and like making this big event that's also something that I'm really proud of when it comes to our culture.
And it really feels like a classic adventure movie. Like, it just has that classic adventure movie vibe to it. It's crazy.
You know the jungle. It's a part of you. But exploring is not a game.
and you don't look before you leap.
It's the first time that I've done a movie that the whole family can go and see. So grandma and grandpa's gonna love it, mom and dad are gonna love it, kids are gonna love it, and there's comedy for everybody.
There's no need to overreact. Get it off! Get it off!
Be yourself. Don't change for anybody. Who you are is enough. That's just a great message in general. And the fact that it's represented in this young Latina superhero who's fearless and brave and intelligent, I think young girls can go, wow, I want to be like her. Wow, you know, I want to take an adventure. And that's what we want to instill in, I think, young girls and boys today.
I have to keep going no matter what.
She's freaking awesome.
Dora and the Lost City of Gold is in theaters right now, helping to heat up the summer box office.
Still to come. Been a fan for years. Janet and I are the same age, so I grew up in San Diego, California. So watching her as Penny on Good Times and just watching her grow up together, and of course a Jackson's fan as well. So my whole life.
What do you think about the show?
See what happens when this Janet Jackson fan realizes she's standing right behind him.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Here, we're committed to a heritage of rigorous scholarship, dating back over 1,000 years.
And to a faith tradition dating back 1,000 more.
This is how we create a culture of inquiry where no topic is off limits.
And a culture of hope.
Anything's possible!
It's Christian leadership.
And it's changing the world for the better.
It's higher learning.
It's greater knowing.
It's what makes us whole.
It's what makes us Regent.
And welcome back to Studio 5. The countdown of the best headlines in uplifting entertainment continues now.
At number 3.
Hey, it's me, Red. You know, the guy everybody hated.
Those Angry Birds are back, making a splash on the big screen.
What are you gonna do? I'm a foodie.
With This Is Us star Sterling K. Brown as a pig.
Welcome to my piggy gadget lab. In Angry Birds 2, we find that the pigs and the birds are playing with one another. They're doing pranks on one another. There's no alliance of sorts, but there's no sort of enemy. It's not a tense situation.
Get ready to laugh, everyone.
I'm done. I'm done living on this frozen, seal-infested iceberg of an island. Fire another ice ball!
It's in American theaters Friday. Hey, Leslie Jones, why will we all love this film?
Everybody is gonna love this movie because it's super funny and it's for all ages.
At number 2.
I'm hanging on by a thread, and all I'm clinging to is prayers.
Rapper Lecrae shares this sobering discovery with his social media followers, posting, "Just found the slave master that bought my 3rd great-grandmother at 9 years old from Africa." He also writes, "I've been working on learning my family history. It's exciting, encouraging, and sad all at once. #legacy, #family."
One of the things I applaud you for doing is being so outspoken and vocal when it comes to racial issues. But you take a lot of heat. Does that bother you?
I think whenever you stand up for what's right, whenever you stand up for what you firmly believe in, you're going to take some shots, right? And so that's the nature of it. Our Savior was crucified for you know, standing up for truth and for laying his life down for others. And I think you know, blessed are those who are persecuted. You know what I mean?
That's number 2, which means we have only one more story to share in this week's countdown. We'll bring it to you in just a matter of moments. Turning now back to the big screen, there's another movie you may have missed. Brian Banks signs with the Atlanta Falcons back in April of 2013. The linebacker's football career is short, but his journey is long, filled with twists and turns and a wrongful conviction. It came when he was just 16. Here's a look at 3 powerful scenes from the film Brian Banks.
The system is broken, that's what I'm trying to tell you. It just doesn't care.
I'm just supposed to accept that? That the system is broken? Well, you know what I say to that? The system. Now, for real, man, I mean, why can't we at least try? What is the system? It's people. Yeah, it's cops, lawyers, judges. If one of them had just cared enough to even go down to that hallway Kenesha said I dragged her, listen to how the tiniest little noise echoes, I wouldn't have this thing on my leg. Mr. Brooks. Justin. I know the system doesn't care about me. I've known that my whole life. The question is, do you?
Do you have a child, Mr. Mateo? Can you imagine what it's like seeing that child, that innocent child, taken from you and locked away with men who've done real crimes and can do real harm to him? All a mother ever wants is to protect her children. And I was never able to do that for my boy. Or go to my grave feeling the pain of that past. But you can do something today, Mr. Mateo, to stop the pain of his future.
Brian, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wish you'd have called us before you reached out.
Called you? You wish I would have called you? You know I didn't call you, Justin? Because every time I throw you a pass, you bat it down, just like you're doing now.
That's not what we're doing.
Come at me with all these legal excuses about the system, about how the truth doesn't matter. The truth matters.
I know it matters. I know that, okay? And that tape is extraordinary. I agree, but I can't do anything legally.
Okay, stop. Okay? You know what, man? Forget the tape, okay? Because I see what's going on here. You're sitting there trying to figure out how to let me down easy again when you know what? That's not going to happen. You want extraordinary? I'll tell you what's extraordinary about this case. I am.
Brian Banks serves as an executive producer on the film about his life, and it's in theaters right now. Before we go to break, it is time to say it in pictures. Here's your look at this week's Studio 5 Snapshot.
Chris and Katie Strader gave their dad, Keith, the surprise of his life on Father's Day. Tickets to see his all-time favorite singer, Janet Jackson, perform in Las Vegas. After this weekend's concert, an even bigger surprise.
What do you think about the show?
It was fantastic.
Did you have a highlight tonight?
Just seeing her on stage.
That's really sweet. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad you like that. Okay.
And when Dad finally pulled it together, he gets an unforgettable hug from the pop star. And a few pictures, which are this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. Just moments away.
What will you name him?
Jesus.
Find out why the life of Jesus is making modern-day media history.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com. Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new MyCBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new MyCBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile. Grow, connect, have fun. The all-new MyCBN app.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs, from health to entertainment, you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place, from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Check your local listings or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel. Now available at cbnradio.com.
You're back in Studio 5 where time is flying. We have made it to the final headline in this week's countdown of the best stories in uplifting entertainment.
At number 1. We've shared the unending credits in the series.
Teacher, I have a question about the Messiah.
And a few scenes from the production. The Chosen is a series that chronicles the life of Jesus Christ. It's also the #1 crowdfunded media project in history. Studio 5 has an exclusive visit to the set just outside Dallas, and we're taking you along for this unforgettable first look.
What will you name him?
Jesus.
We will name him Jesus.
We are in Texas now shooting episodes 5 through 8. Episodes 1 through 4 covered several of the main characters before they encountered Christ. So we meet Simon Peter, we meet Mary Magdalene, we meet Nicodemus, Matthew the tax collector, before they encounter Christ.
And so wraps this week's countdown. The novel, The Art of Racing in the Rain, spent years on the bestsellers list and is actually translated into nearly 40 languages. It's now a feature film. We had a chance to talk to the director and the film stars, including the dog who played the philosophical pup Enzo. In case you missed it, here's a look at Racing in the Rain.
He picked me out of a pile of pups, a tangled mass of paws and tails. He'd stopped at the farm on his way home from the speedway at Yakima.
Hey.
Even back then, I knew I was different than other dogs. My soul just felt more human. This one.
And so begins the storybook bond of a man, a race car driver, and his dog, Denny and Enzo, in the film The Art of Racing in the Rain.
And so I had my first glimpse at the rest of my life.
The book stayed on the bestsellers list for a long time, translated into almost 40 different languages. Intimidating to come and try and bring something that people love so dearly to the screen?
Yeah, I'd say that was something to bear in mind. But on the other hand, you think, well, people love this story, so hopefully they'll love the film if we do a decent job.
Simon Curtis directs the film. Mark Bombach is the screenwriter.
It is a story about a person who's an athlete who's pursuing this very, very, very difficult dream, which is to race at the highest level. And he winds up falling in love and starting a family. The dog was almost functioning like a guardian angel, like God, that there's this presence in the room that loves you more than you love yourself. And that was probably the thing on the emotional front that really grabbed me.
Enzo, this is Eve.
Hi, Enzo. How you doing?
My first impression of Eve was as complicated as the scents in the air.
Not really much of a dog person.
A melange of produce, shampoo, and pheromones.
Well, he's more person than dog.
Milo Ventimiglia and Amanda Seyfried play the roles of Denny and Eve.
What is it about this story for both of you that made you decide to do it and it feels like you love it?
Oh, it's got everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to be happy in life. I really, truly want to laugh, and I really want to cry, and I want to feel alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go to the movies and have that entire experience. I need it.
Yeah, I think the reminder of the human element, told through the lens of a dog that just so desperately wants to be the best possible version of a human in his next
So
life.
heartbreaking.
It's so heartbreaking, but it's inspiring because here's a dog that isn't a person, but wants to be the best version of one. I think that's inspiring to all of us that are people to say, hey, wait a minute, we can be a better version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Anytime that you can.
I just have to get in here. Pick it up, hold it.
You've met the actors Amanda and Milo, but the real star of the film is this guy, Butler, one of two dogs who brings the character of Enzo to life, and he does such a great job. What do you say for yourself? Good dog.
They were married at a magnificent palace with its very own ocean. The kind of place I had assumed only existed on television. I tried my best to be helpful. I minded my manners, resisted snacking on the trays of exquisite appetizers, and made sure to do my business in the flower bed farthest from the festivities.
Your character, Denny, faces a lot. Why doesn't he break?
There is no choice. Yeah, I think Gary Cole had a line in the movie, I can't get it right, but basically was, Denny asks him, he says, what if I don't succeed? I think Gary Cole responds something along the lines of like, you gotta show up. I don't ruin that moment. But there is no other option. There is no other option, especially when it comes to his family, to his wife, to his daughter. No, you have to be the best version of yourself you can be. Responsibility. But also honor and duty and all of that to your family.
Right there. He's been down almost a full lap this whole stint. Not about who's got the heavier foot, about feel. Then he was the first to make the call to switch to rain tires. Hey, watch this. Reminds me what they used to say about Santa. When it rains, it doesn't rain on him.
In case you missed it, Racing in the Rain is in theaters right now.
And still ahead.
We'll love you always. Teach us how to love you more.
We're traveling to Dallas.
When did you realize the power of the gift to touch people the way it does?
To sit down with this singer, songwriter, author, and teacher.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Welcome back to Studio 5. This week's soundtrack comes courtesy of J.J. Hairston and Youthful Praise. Here's Miracle Worker, featuring Rich Talbert Jr. Take a listen and hear why Miracle Worker is what's playing in my ear. You're a miracle worker. Powerful song indeed. On that musical note, we are almost out of time for this week's Studio 5, so let's take a moment to see what we have coming up on next week's Rundown.
Nothing compares to your greatness. Nothing compares to your majesty.
She leads believers in worship at one of the largest churches in the country, and her voice can be heard on countless solo and compilation projects.
How you love us so.
We're in Dallas, sitting down with Tanya Baker, following Sunday services at Bishop T.D. Jakes' Potter's House Church. It's a candid conversation about her life.
I was ostracized and I was put out and I was, shamed.
And the story behind the glory.
I left the church after my son was born, and it was mainly because I was being rebellious.
See how she goes from rebellious to restored.
We'll have that story and lots more for you come next week. Before we say goodbye, we want to head to Dallas, Texas, to the set of a series called The Chosen, to sit down and give the final word to its director, Dallas Jenkins.
The advice that I got from someone else 2 years ago, and after I came off of my biggest career failure, and I literally didn't know what my future held. A person I barely know at 3 o'clock in the morning sent me a Facebook message that said, "Remember, your job is not to feed the 5,000, it's only to provide the loaves and fish." And I said to him in that moment, "Why did you just send me that at 3 o'clock in the morning? What are you doing up?" He says, "Well, I'm in Romania, I'm on a different time zone." He goes, "I don't know why I sent that to you. God told me to tell you that." Ironically enough, earlier that day, my wife and I had been led by God to the Bible and the story of the feeding of the 5,000. And so we had spent 2 hours dissecting that story. And so when I got that text at 3 in the morning, it confirmed all that. And it made me realize, man, if I would have practiced that philosophy 20 years ago, my goodness, I could have done so much more damage. Now, I believe God, of course, has a plan in all of it. And I don't believe that any of my failures or successes were accidents. But when I speak now, that is the message that I give, as I tell my story of at 41, 42 years old, learning something that I wish I would have learned when I was 12.
Dallas Jenkins, that is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5. We're going to have much more from him coming up in a future episode in the weeks ahead, right here on Studio 5. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.